We deserved it today. We started out, we had a great start, good jump out 15-5, and felt like we were going to start cooking a little bit, and then they started hitting a couple shots. We stopped hitting shots, and we just, I'm not quite sure why we deflated as much as we did. Could be because it's a non-conference game. I don't know. I think for me as a competitor, that's tough for me because I don't care if it's a non-conference game or not. We're trying to beat every team that walks in here. So to get dominated on the boards the way we did makes me sick. Missing, going 8 for 14 from the free throw line, the crucial mistakes we made down the stretch, and then the hustle plays. We've been winning every hustle play last couple games, and which is why we've been dominating, and they dominated the hustle plays. So it just, as the head coach, it makes me sick, and I take all the blame for it because obviously I didn't get them ready to go. So I would say the positive thing for me is I'm thankful that this slip-up didn't cost us a championship. Because when you have those type of slip-ups, especially when you're behind a team that's undefeated, that could cost you big time. So I hope that this was the humble pie that we needed. We've been flirting with this for a couple weeks, and it finally happened, so I'm glad that it wasn't against a conference team, but got served a piece of humble pie, so we gotta eat that pie and be ready to go to work on Monday.
Coach, you feel like you guys still were taking good shots. I mean, that first
Yeah.
was 7 of 13, and then you look at the rest of the game, it was 4 of whatever at this point.
Yeah.
Shots weren't falling, but you still, found a way to battle back. It's got to give you a little bit of positive reinforcement that you're down 10 at one moment and you come back and you do make it a one possession.
That's the beauty of our system. We're never out of it. We're never out of it. I think for me, it really wasn't about, I thought we took good shots. I didn't really have a problem with our offense. Sometimes you're going to make those, sometimes you won't. We still made 11. For me, it was the lack of trust in our press. So that first half, I think they made 7 threes, and we weren't pressuring them the way we did in the second half. So they were able to make a pass from across the half court. If you can make that pass against our press, that means our ball pressure and our traps are not good. And so I think they hit a couple, and we kind of got a little scared, a little hesitant, and we let them kind of pick us apart with their passing, which kudos to them. They did a great job. They had 22 assists, so that's great passing. But we didn't trust it enough, and then you saw how it could have been the whole game in the fourth quarter if we would have just pressured them the way we did the fourth quarter. If you do that the whole game, it's a different game. But I think we needed this one. I think we needed to be humbled. I'm just thankful it wasn't a conference game.
You've had a couple of games where there's been a little bit of a second quarter lull. How do you address that and ensure that up moving forward?
We can't lose our energy when we're missing shots. We were just taking the ball out the net, and they were doing a good job of guarding off of our players, and it was making it difficult. We were trying to settle a little bit too much for the three. As you can see in the second half, we did a little bit more trying to get to the paint. So we were settling a little too much, and we were missing shots, and when that happens, you got to rely on your offensive rebounding, and also you got to have more paint production, and we just didn't have that, and I think it's because we've had this before. When we don't make shots, we lose our energy, and that can't happen.
Coach, how, if at all, how heavy does a winning streak like what you just had, how heavy does it get as you go on? Because it does feel like the higher it gets, the more pressure is being kind of put on them, and maybe losing that streak now might not be necessarily a bad thing with this stretch run left. I
agree with that, but I love pressure. Pressure doesn't bother me as a head coach, and I don't think it bothers our team. I don't think today was about pressure. I think that today was about, it wasn't a conference game, and at times we just looked like we were coasting, which I hate that. Because as a competitor, again, that shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. There should be more fight, and we just didn't have that. And I don't think that our team does that if it's a conference game. So that's an issue that I have to look to fix moving forward. But yeah, I mean, yes, as you keep going, the pressure builds. But I think also for me, it was about playing the way we play for 40 minutes every game and not really worrying about that. So yeah, it does take some pressure off, but we just gotta be ready to go. Doesn't matter who we're playing, you gotta be ready to go.
Do you take any comfort in the fact that you had probably your best game this season in terms of taking care of the basketball?
Yeah, I love that, but that also is because they're not really a pressure-based team, I thought that there were a couple times where we weren't allowed to be physical and they were very physical with us. I don't like that, but we still miss, 6 free throws? My math right on that? We still miss 6 free throws. You lose the game by 2. There's just times where, we got a rebound, that we fell out of bounds, or we hit it back in. It gave them an extra 30. They hit the 3. Then we get a stop. We give up an old board. Winner fouls out. We just did some really goofy stuff down the stretch. So the 9 turnovers is great. I celebrate that. But the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is as we progress, because we got some tough games coming up, and as we get to the tournament, they're going to look like that down the stretch. And you have to be able to execute down the stretch, and we didn't do that today.
Crislyn, felt like you were just in attack mode in that fourth quarter. Finish was 29. Just talk about your mentality going into that last quarter.
To piggyback off of what she said, I feel like we kind of deflated a little bit. So just trying to have that spark a little bit for my teammates, and just they weren't taking away our 3-ball, but they were keying on it. So just being able to attack the lane, like she said, have paint production when our shots not falling.
Crislyn, from a player perspective, do you feel like as a team maybe you weren't as focused because it was a non-con right in the middle of this Sunbelt play?
I can't speak for that. I don't really know what everybody's lapse was, but I feel like we weren't making shots. We got deflated, and then we weren't. I feel like this game was focused a lot on the defensive end for us. We weren't getting stops. Like she said, 50-50 plays, they was winning them. So the little things like that we know how we're supposed to perfect it and come out and play, but we didn't do that today.
And I think also, we talk about the 9 turnovers, but they also, so that the turnovers were costly because they had 19 points off our turnovers. So those turnovers that we did have, they turned to live ball turnovers, which turned to points for them. So that's tough. You only lose by 2, and we gave them 19 points off our turnovers. So, if we turn it over, I would prefer for them it not to be a live ball turnover where they can, go get points off of it. But at the end of the day, we got to take this one on. We take this one on the chest a little bit, and we got to get back to work Monday, back to the Sun Belt. You can't hang your head a little bit. I'm disappointed because of the way that we're playing. And to let a team come in here and kind of dominate the way they did at times is frustrating for me, but you got to let it go, and we got to get back to work on Monday and get prepared for Southern Miss. There's still a plan in place. Thank God that didn't cost us a championship. I can't say God is good and we win and not saying we lose, so God is still good. We're going to keep trusting the process, and we still feel like we're in a great position.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a good one.